Welcome, guys. I'm on my favorite place in the world, in these old woods. But no digging today. I thought I'd share something a little different with you, since we just had this, oh man, this cold spell over Christmas, and it's warmed up, and we've had a big thaw here during New Year's. But I thought I'd share just, if we've had a good rain now, I thought I'd just share with you something. A lot of people's asked me too. I've never done this on the channel. You ever find any coins, Donnie? Well, I've done 150 metal detecting videos, over 150 of them. And I have found some coins off in these old ridges and around these old houses and these old farm sites, but not as much as you'd think I would. They're just hard to come by, far and in between. I found out of 150 something videos, I might have 12 videos, they may be, I found a coin. Most of them out in the middle of nowhere on these old logging woods, and I figured it's just from an old hunter that pulled a shell out of his pocket, out popped a penny. Well, you can see right here of all the old finds. This is an old picture here of old finds. Now I'm going to share with you some of the coins that I have found since I've been metal detecting over the last 2 years. So, I hope you enjoy. Now guys, everybody asks me, what are you using? I'm using an Equinox 600. That's what I'm using. And I'm using a Garrett Pro Pointer. That's what I use out in the field. So there you go. Now when I first started metal detecting, I used a Technetics Delta 5000. It's a light little unit, and it done a good job. Really good job, and I loved using it. It was light, mobile, and it didn't lie to you either. But I moved on. Now I stay in these old woods every chance I get. Winter, spring, summer, fall, and I love being in them. But the best time for me to be in them is in the late winter. Seems like there's no ticks out, the hunting season's over, the snakes ain't out, and you pretty much got it to yourself. And there is some warm and pretty days, but it does turn winter from time to time. And I do find some good old targets. I like to work these old road beds in these old woods. These old logging roads, old farm roads from way back. And here I'm going to show you a few clips from what things that I have found metal detected. And that was the videos that they're in. Here's an old penny I found up on an old road, old wagon road, way up on these ridges. Old Indian head penny. And that one's a deep one too. That was almost a foot deep down in that road. Old penny. 1901. Rare to find them, but I just think it's a hunter dropped one out of his pocket, is what I always think. Now next up another one. Here's the video it's in. Found another old Indian head penny on an old road. You don't know what they are. You don't know what's laying in the ground when you go to digging. They don't read like a shotgun shell. You don't know what it is till you dig it up. Here I clean them up best I can, look at them, study them, and you see them as I find them. As I find them and dig them up, I usually show them to you in the clips. that's a nice old one too. 1905 on this one. Some of them clean up good and some of them don't. Old Indian head pennies. Here's one I found in Capping the Ridge. Going up this old holler. The ticks are out though. Bad time of year to get down in here. But here's another nice old pine. I try to clean them up out in the field is hard. And if you put a brush on them, you scratch them, but sometimes I do. It's not the end of the world, people. And I don't sell them to make a living. Nice old pine, some of them. This one's pretty rough shape. It's a 1904 Indian head penny. So all I figure is just these old hunters. They drop them out of their pockets or something when they got shotgun shells full of shotgun shells hunting. And they pull one out, one rolls right out with it. And they don't know where they go. Now here's the oldest old Indian head penny that I've ever found. I found it a couple of years back. It was a muddy morning too. I remember that. It had been raining, cold, muddy. Out on an old house site here, road. They're rare to find, but every once in a while I do run into an old corn. And like I said, yeah, you're not supposed to brush them off and all that, but if they laying in the ground for 100 years, I don't think a brush is going to hurt it. Now, this is the old one, and he cleaned up real good. Really good. This was an 1883 penny. Old Indian head. It cleaned up real good. A little rough a little bit here and there, but it cleaned up real clean. Well, that's the oldest penny I've ever found in my years of collecting. Or just metal detecting, let's put it that way. And that one was a nice find. I work these old woods. You can see them here. These places used to be full of old people lived out in these woods. You run into an old home site here and there. But I like to trace around these old roads. You barely can catch glimpses of them. They're logging roads, or either they're old wagon roads between these farms. Now here's one of the best days I ever had. Finding silver in these old woods. I've never been able to do it again. And here's the video it's in. I'll show a few clips of it. Here's an old road bed. Went to an old house up here off the county road. Nothing left of that house whatsoever, but there was an old lane went up through here. You barely recognize it. Trees is all growed up and dead laying across it down through there. Well, that's it. And I'll show you here, I found an old penny. One thing I found. Old wheat penny. $41. The most thing I had never found before was an old B nickel. I'd never found one in my life and haven't found one ever since either. And this old rope. And it was not bad shape at all. I couldn't believe how good a shape it is. Most I've seen is old and rusty. It's laying up here in these old rocks. Not bad a shape at all. About 3 or 4 inches in the ground. I'd like to find more of them. I've never found none in my life. That was a lucky day right there. And another thing I don't really find much of is an old mercury dime. In the same little old area. Old mercury dime. It's pretty good shape too. I wished I could find more of them. That's just the way it is. But that was a good day, good finds. And in this video, I found a hole under a rock there like somebody camping or hiding stuff. But it was just trash. But some coins you find, you can't even recognize them. This one there had been in a fire or something. I don't know what it was. It's not a wheat penny, that's for sure. It's an old Lincoln. And back here at the old house, I've been metal detecting half a dozen little videos on it. I find more trash than I do anything, but here's the video clip that I did find an old Indian head in. It took me 4 or 5 trips here, different times, but I finally found this old penny. Here's the clip for it. Used to be an old house stood here that burnt down, and they built another one in the 20s. So they was an 1800s house here at one time. And they just cleaned over it, scraped it. But there's still old stuff I would find, and here's an old penny. Don't look too bad right there, but the more I got it home and started cleaning on it, the worse it got. It was like it was coming apart in layers. Of course, it was laying in sandy mud there. I don't know how it was in that good a shape. There it was a 1902, best I could tell. The more I cleaned on it, the worse it was getting, like it's coming apart in layers. And this other old place here, an old farm, and old cabin sites, I got to fooling around with it a little bit, finding a lot of bullets and old nails and stuff, but I did find a penny. Not a super old penny. It's just so much trash in the ground, it's hard to find them. But this cleaned up pretty good. It was a 39 wheat penny. And going between these old ridges, walking around, I happened to stumble up on this video, a coin spill. I don't know if it was a hunter or what. I just walked up there by these rocks, and they was just pocket full of change laying everywhere. I couldn't believe it. Dimes, nickels, pennies. I don't think there was no quarters in it. I was an old hunter. It was bow season then, so some hunter fell out of their bag, their pants, I don't know. Laying out on that rock. I just went to picking them up. All told, I think it was $1.07 there. But there was nothing owed to them. Just somebody lost some coins or dropped them out of a pocket, out of a bag or backpack, who knows. Well, that was just there at the right time at the right place. right up on these ridge roads. And I do get to do stuff like this every once in a while. I've got to metal detect this place one time for 3 hours. There's the video. And I did find some old coins, but not really old coins. I'd like to find some old 1800 coins and stuff like that, and silver dollars, but I didn't spend enough time to really get in depth on it to find them. I did find a few coins. The oldest one I found here in the first quarter was 1966. And it wasn't too bad a shape. It was in the front yard in the driveway. I just didn't get to spend enough time waiting to get permission to go back. Now here's what I did find in coins, plus a whole lot of trash. And I did find an old penny. But that's what I found there. Like I said, I only got to spend 3 hours. And I found these old house seats. Here's parts to a big old cauldron. And I find stuff like this out here. Found an old nickel in this video. And an old mini ball, Civil War mini ball. And I like to work these old road beds in these woods. You don't know what's went through here over time and fell out. I found old nickels, buffalo nickels. And I find along the old county roads here, along the road, people throw stuff out the window, or over time, I don't know. Found old quarters, found anything. But I really love to look under these rocks. You never know what's under these rocks over time. I think there's something hid in them. But the best find for me, over time I've been metal detecting, and here's the video, an old pocket knife. And I didn't think nothing about it when I found it, but I got to doing some research on it. Here's the clip on it. I got to doing some research on it. This thing was really old. Like I never found it. It was a foot down in them rocks, cracking the rocks down in there. And I thought, well, the machine must be lying to me. Well, I just kept probing and probing. And finally jerked it out of there. But I don't know how it got down in there. Down in between them rocks, big crevice down in there. Well, there it is. An old pocket knife. So it was pretty bad shape, rusted over time. And you can see it here. Didn't look like much, but I had to take it apart to find out what it was. And best I can tell, researching, it was a Humphreys Radiant made in Sheffield, England, made in the 1850s, that model. And it had ivory handles on it. I thought that was awful cool. That's old. How did it get there? Who lost it? But I like to get in these old woods and just probe. You don't know what's laying in the ground. Here's some of the other coins that I've found over time in these old woods. Coin spills or old roadways, or you just don't know how they got there. But nothing super old. But guys, there you go. That's just what I found in the coins. Yes, I find nothing but shotgun shells, and I love finding them. A lot of people don't like them, but I love them. I'm trying to make them where they're collectible. They're part of history like anything else. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I showed you what coins I have found over time in these old ridges. And there's more to be found. And a lot of people ask too, Donnie, these places you show in old history. Yes, if I can get permission in some of these places. You just can't go digging here and there without permission. Some of them I can and some of them I can't. But there's some new permissions I'm working on for this year, so hopefully I'll get them. So I want to thank y'all for watching. And stay tuned. I get back in these old ridges. Hunting season's over this weekend on January 8th. The hunting season ends here in this area. So it's time to get back in them. when the weather permitting. You know how this time of year is. It's beautiful one day, winter the next. So thank y'all for watching. God bless, and I'll see you next time.